He says, missions exist because worship doesn't. Missions exist because worship doesn't. Meaning, the goal of worship, the goal of mission is to spread God's worship so that people can know Him and worship Him. And because people don't know Him, that's why missions exists. That's why mission is there. And so, we at our church, we want to care and pray and support the gospel work that's being done around the world. And so we, a little history before Zeka takes the mic. Maybe, okay, yeah. Just a little history about how we even got to this moment. 2 years ago, we started praying at our elders meeting about that we as a church, we want to support a missionary. And so it was an ongoing prayer. And then a year and a half ago, Vitaly Kunda contacted Vitaly Fomin because they somehow saw each other at some conference and got to know each other. And so at this moment, he's calling him, and this guy actually decides to hey, I'm going to actually leave pastoring and become a missionary. So hey, we're praying about this. Why not, join? And so he was preparing, and so he got into the country of Greece and just started figuring out what he was going to do, and then came back to Ukraine, said, okay, we're going to go. But then about a week before they left, the war happened, right? And so they left to Greece. But now their mission slightly changed because they were initially in Greece for a Greek, but now refugees started coming. I'm so sorry if that offended somebody. Coming in, and so his mission slightly changed. So now he's focusing on the refugees, and these refugees a lot of them are non-believing people, and why Greece? Well, Greece, some think, it's a Christian country. Well, not necessarily, right? There's a lot of superficial Christianity. And a lot of these people that are coming from Ukraine, refugees, are also not truly Christians, right? They're Orthodox, Catholics, or things like that. So we had a few ladies from our church come and help them in their camp, right, last summer. And then, so because of that, Zeka's family felt a call to support them, and they packed their stuff in the beginning of November. And so then went there, and then Rufa decided, you know what? God is calling me too. And that's how this whole thing started. That's why we're here, right? So our partnership with Vitaly Fomin family and the work that they're doing is growing, and we want to support them, and we want to care for them. And so this is an opportunity for us to hear what kind of work is there, how can we pray, how can we support, okay? So how about Zeka? Here you go.
Hello, dear church. So yeah, like Victor was saying, we are very privileged to take this trip to Greece with the whole family, and that was our desire. That was our prayer. If we do something like that, we wanted to do it with the family, with the kids. It's hassle, it's more expensive, but it was important for us, and we are glad we did. We experienced God and His care in a very special way. And a lot of it was in connection with all of you guys. And I want to start with that as saying thank you to all of you. You guys participated, and you were part of this whole experience and trip in many different ways. Some participated financially, some just personally, prayers, texts, calls, different things. And it's amazing how God uses that in a very much needed time. So, and I can't, it was difficult. The difficult part in preparing this was because you almost, a little over 2 months is like a mini life. It's not 2 weeks. And it was difficult, hey, where do we start? What do we say? What do we not say? And where do we finish? And I don't want to, take up 3, 4, 5, 6 hours of your time. So we're going to have to, cut it. And that's why it was I can go on and how God used a lot of you, some of you very personally, to reach out to us in the moments where it was most needed. And the encouragement, the prayers, we really felt them in many different ways. And so Yeah, because I don't want to jump ahead of myself. We are thankful to you guys, and we are grateful to God for this opportunity. It changed our perspective in a lot of different ways. It shaped us in some ways. It caused us to grow and mature. For me personally, even standing up here with the mic, like a lot of it, I'd probably be like sweating and shaking if it was before. But over there, I had to be so uncomfortable so often that almost is like I wanted to just leave, because it was like I had to, and it's people that I don't know, and you don't know what they're thinking. It's a very, very different crowd of people. Here, I'm almost like relieved in a way, because I know you all, and I know how you guys relate to me and how I relate to you, and there's like comfort in there. But it was healthy. So just generally about the trip, a lot of people ask me, how was the trip? It's difficult to answer, and it depends who's asking and how much time I have. But even like to some of the people that I know with customers and stuff, I would say I kind of summed it up in this way: it was a difficult in many ways trip, but it was good for the soul. It was a blessing. It was good for us, but it was in many different ways. It's like, man, I've had those thoughts. I'm like, why are we even here? Like, can we just change the flight and go? But then God would come through and show us why we're there and comfort. And it's like, man, okay, let's go. Let's do this. This is good. So, so Greece. And I'll go through the pictures and try to, some of them I'll just go quickly. Some of them I'll stop and explain. And then at some points, Rufo will jump in, my wife, Max will share, and Matthew possibly. He said no, but we'll see. Maybe he'll get into it. But Greece is, there's a lot of beauty to it. Stuff like this, there's a lot of history, a lot of Bible history, a lot of really cool things to see, and like stuff where you read, passages of the Bible, and it's like you're on the spot, and you're seeing the ruins and stuff or whatever, the leftovers of it. And it touches you in a very different way. Like it encourages your faith in a special way. So there's a lot of beauty to it, a lot of history, but there's also, and when I say Greece, we're in Athens. So Athens, big city life. They say it's about 6 million people just in Athens area, surrounding area. So it's very crammed, very like everything's so small, tight, uncomfortable, hard to like drive in the car, and parking is a forever issue anywhere you go. So a lot of times it's easier, faster to walk, get somewhere. If say it's like a 2-kilometer walk, you'll be better off walking than trying to take a car or anything else. That's why people use metro a lot. So a lot of people don't have cars. So life is very different. And so anything by the sea is very, it's pretty. It's built for, when people for tourism. So anything that has to do with tourism, it's nice and pretty. It's clean. As soon as you get away from the sea life and on the beach, it's I don't want to say ugly. It's like downtown Seattle kind of thing. It's ghetto. Everything, they like graffiti. Everything's graffiti. You'll see some of the pictures. So, anyways, we'll start. But this is, and there's a lot of different temples. So any kind of mountaintop you have, there's going to be a temple of some sort. And this comes from, knowing the Greeks and who they are. And they still are. They're very nice and kind people. And they like to, talk and like philosophically a lot. They'll sit there for hours and, talk different things and really not do much. And that's why they are the poorest country in the European Union. They are pretty poor because they like to relax and enjoy the sun and be at the beach. They don't like to do much. So they take it slow, very slow. So, but you'll see a lot of, like Victor mentioned, so think throughout this whole thing, Orthodox. So Orthodox is Greek is an Orthodox is a Greek. Like it's embedded in them, and there's a lot of, the most prettiest building in Greece is going to be church buildings. And Rufa loved those church buildings. She took pictures of a bunch of them. It's interesting. They're all over the place. They're nice and they're beautiful. Everything else is just kind of run down, doesn't really have much structure to it. But you'll see a lot of them, like really pretty buildings, and those are the churches. And again, it's Orthodox, so people go in, they'll do their thing and put up a candle and read their prayers, and so it's a lot of that, but almost no gospel, no knowledge of Christ personally, no relationship. It's all just what you do and just religious things like that. So this was actually a picture. You can see Acropolis over there on that hill. Acropolis is one of their big things that they know. So first one who came, Vitaly actually wasn't there for a few days. He left, and then this was our little apartment, and then that's when, like 3 days later, when he came, and his family came, and so that was our first kind of meeting. We got to just like introduce each other, just got to know each other on that first time, and so we got to know their family. I'll say a little bit about them before I go on. So so Vitaly is a great man of God. He's very busy. He's got a lot on his plate. And this is where, he is involved in so many things. And yes, refugees right now is a big thing over there. I think in the beginning of the war, I think it was about 80,000 refugees, Ukrainian refugees, that came to Athens area. Now I think he was saying is about 60,000. Some of them just moved on to other countries, left. But so, and he's a known person. He knows a lot of people know him, so he's connecting a lot of people, and that keeps him very busy. I'd say too busy. And this is where we as a church can pray for, and if we have any connection with him, encourage him, and help him be more focused on what things he needs to be focused right now, because it's a lot, and there's a lot of need, and not a lot of people to help with the need. And we'll talk more about his ministry later. So this is a church. It's going to be, let me see. Yeah, I can jump. So this is Pastor Dino. I just jumped the picture. But this person he's Greek, like Greek. He's really Greek. And his wife is from America, so he speaks good English. But he's awesome person, very open. He received us very well. And so this is his church. And they have, this is the church you've heard before Vitaly was talking about, where they have 5 different languages that they do services on. It's very small. I think each little community of the language community, sometimes 15, 20 people. And with us, that's Pastor Leonid. He's pastor of the Russian community in that church. And so when we would in the morning, we would go there. Sometimes we'd make it to the Greek service, then the Russian service, and then we would go with Vitaly, with his congregation, with his community. It's in a different place. And so they were very kind to us. They brought us out, prayed over us. We shared with them. We met him before, the year before we met. We went with just me and my wife, and Famin, Vitaly and Natasha. So we knew them. And so a lot of the things we were connected with with them, or just known, hang out around with them and the people of their church. We got to know a lot of them personally. Because their church, the community, maybe 20, 30 people, Russian speaking, most of them are like 7, 8, 9 years in Greece. Some of them are 20, 25 years in Greece, just for different reasons. It was cool to get to know their stories. So this was me sharing, being a little nervous, but it was like all these people, and they wanted me to come out and share and pray. Very simple, very, very, very simple, sometimes too simple for us. And, they also, their belief is they don't use instruments in their church. So when they sing just as it is. And so we really missed and really appreciate our band. It was, they sing with their heart, but it's different. Worship time is very different. So yeah, this is, so a couple times, there's in the corner over there's a group of Romanian children that they came with like a little choir, and so they invited anybody they knew, they invited us, and so they had a church service, and then they had a little, at the tables over there, they did like a potluck kind of thing. So that's just to show this is their building, that's the people, and kind of that's how the setup is. So this was one of the unique moments. This is where basically representation of each language community. There's Greek, English, there's Farsi. The other guy by Vitaly is from Egypt, and then Vitaly prayed in Russian. So it was, and they do communion every Sunday. That's what they're holding. But it was a unique moment, and it was really, really cool to see people worshiping and praying and preaching and just worshiping God in their own language and different languages. So it was really cool to be with them. This one I already showed. That's Pastor Dino. He's a character. He's a really very very special person. And people love him, and he loves people. So this also about their church. They every Sunday I mean, that's all the kids they have, plus our kids. Or most of them are our kids. But they do like a Sunday, kind of like a Sunday lesson thing. So, and before they send them off, they bring them up front and pray for them. This was on one of the events. I can't remember what event it was. Thanksgiving event or something. So this was a lot of different people from the area. So that's all the kids. They brought up all the kids out. And they just prayed for them and so let's see. Yeah, Ellie was really cool. It was really sweet to find out about Ellie. She makes friends very easily. Anywhere we went, in a few minutes you see, she's with some girl, they're hugging and they would find, common language. Our kids started speaking Russian a lot better, because that was the connecting language. If they're not Greek, most of them did not speak English. Russian be the language. But Greeks spoke English, most of them. Because from the young age, they learn English, and for them, it's opportunities. So if kids grow up, they learn English, and everything in Greece is somehow connected to tourism. And tourism, you need the English language. So they would all learn English, and especially the younger generation, they all speak good English. So that's, Acropolis, if you can read it on top. But that was in Metro. Rufa took that picture of us. But so we would take Metro every once in a while, but it's there's difficulty with that. But so we're just tired. I think we were coming home or something, and just sitting there waiting for the Metro train to come through, and it's a unique picture for us, Acropolis. So this was that Pastor Leonid in the Russian pastor church. So he is also the person that is responsible in this. It's a big building. It's like, I don't know, 11-story building, 7-story building, Hellenistic ministry. So this ministry, someone created years ago. I can't remember how many years, maybe 100 years ago. There's this person who found it, and it was his main thing. It's kind of like our lighthouse mission, but it's to reach the people in the community. And so right now they're working very hard, basically 3 times a week, and they serve the Greek community people, but they also serve the people from Syria and people from Afghanistan and Ukrainian. So on separate days, they have separate gatherings for these people, and they simply, we went to some of them, and we were at the Ukrainian one, where they give them, basically people come there to receive something for the most part, because they're refugees, and so they would have a bag of just basic shampoo and soap and things like that, and another baggie of just like basic food supply stuff. And so they needed big help, and for us it was cool, because this is where we could really serve as a family together. Simon was going to work on it too, and we would pack stuff. And so sometimes it's 250 bags or plus another 300 bags. You'll see some more. So it was a lot of work, but it was really cool. And we would, remind our kids why we're doing this and who it's for. But then when the gathering would happen, the pastor would come out, and in their language, a lot of time through a translator, they would basically tell the people why they're doing what they're doing, and give them a basic, like, simple gospel message, and just tell them for the love of Christ. Yeah. And because I'm going to get hung up on some of the pictures. And so this, and they would receive these gifts, and so it was really cool to see. So this, we're taking a lunch break. Yeah, Simon these are the old boxes that we had to take out, and Simon, that was his job, taking out garbage. So this was already one of the gatherings. And so it's like just a big gathering like that, anywhere from sometimes 50 to 120 people maybe. And so I had an opportunity. I was asked by Pastor Leonid on one of the points, that picture, where, and you can only imagine how nervous I was, but he asked me to share my testimony of what God has done in my life in Russian to these people. And I would say 90%, 95% of these people are non-believers, Orthodox. So their idea of God, and that later I realized, when we talk about believing in God, or even praying or going to church, their idea is very different, and you have to specify, because they read prayers. Going to church, that means going in and putting up a candle and just doing a little thing that they do. God is just the idea, because Mary, as a mother of Jesus, has more value than Jesus himself for them. And so it was just a lot of that. But it was really cool. After that, a lot of people, some of the people were coming up and thinking I'm some kind of priest or some kind of special connection to God, and wanted like a special prayer from me. And so for me, it was very interesting. But God used it in His own way, because later some of these people we followed up with and met together with and prayed with. So these are the people. These from I think these were from Afghanistan. So Afghani people, and they are serving in the kitchen specifically every day for these things. And so we help them, and so me and Max helping there. They asked them help, just basic kind of rice and meat dish, and when these people come, they feed them. So that was after one of those times we went out to eat with Vitaly, and just finding any moment we could to communicate and discuss fellowship. Because one of the things that we wanted to do, we come there and we wanted to support what they're doing. We didn't want to necessarily just build something of our own. You can switch it over there. But basically supporting and seeing, we were keeping our eyes and ears open and see what the Lord leads, how we can support, how we can build up, how we can encourage people that are already doing something, and really find time. Sometimes we would take trips just to hang out with them and go places and visit places. So, and enjoy their food, because their food is amazing. Their food is one of the things that really, really stands out. This was another one of the churches that we went to. So one of the things I also did with Vitaly a lot is I would go and translate, because Vitaly, being there for the 10 months he was there, it's difficult. He doesn't know English. He doesn't know Greek. A lot of these Greek pastors know English. And so for him, there's a lot of this disconnect. So I would go with him to just different meetings, sometimes 2-3 times a day, to translate, get to know these pastors or these people that it's important for him to know, to make connection with, because he lives there. This was one of the, go back one. This was one of the churches that we went to. This was a Greek church, and if you guys remember when we were there, the whole situation with sending a lot of the generators there, this is one of the Greek church that participated in that and donated a lot of money for that to happen. And so we went over there one of the Sundays. It's strictly Greek church, like they're all Greek, because other ones would be mixed. This is just Greek church. And we were there, and then we shared. And it was difficult. Vitaly would speak in Russian, I would speak in English, and then the guy would translate me into Greek. So it was a little hard and confusing, because you got all these language things. But it was good. Yeah, next. So this pastor, I think his name was Jonathan. So where Vitaly right now, where he's gathering with the group of people that are, because they're not a church yet, but they're community, fellowship, roughly 20, 25, up to 30 people, depends how many comes. So they are gathering in their church building. It's a smaller room, but it's enough. And he's the pastor or associate pastor of that church. And they are letting them use the room, the building, at no charge at this point, which is a huge blessing for them. It's difficult to find space there, and also expensive. So right now they are using their building, and we got to spend a few hours with them. It was great. So this is one of the pastors of a different church that we went to, and believe it or not, they're standing by the church. This is a church building. This is one of the entrances over there, because they're making some rooms. But like I said, this is just some of the things where everything is just graffiti. And this is a church building. There's an entrance on the other side, and this is a side entrance. But that was another meeting with that pastor. So this is also, we would meet with different men. So on the side over there, that's Chris, and he is American. That like a missionary American, they devoted their life to him and his wife for missionary. They served in Russia for a little bit. Can't remember how many years, maybe like 2 years temporarily. And then they served in Romania for 12 or 13 years. So he speaks some Russian. His Russian is very interesting and funny at times, but he's enough to where he can keep up a conversation. But it was good. And so that's his son that came. He lives in Minnesota, and he came to visit them. And I got to get to know his son and hang out with him a little, because it's very interesting. There's a whole different story, but I asked him, what is it like to be a son of a missionary family? And it's a very it's not what I expected. It's very interesting because even his life, because he's hearing it all his life, and it almost has a different effect on him personally, what he was telling me. But again, that's a whole different story. I'm not going to get into that. Max, do you want to share about this one? This is just some of the different things.
Sure. So yeah, we just I'll just go turn this way. We just wanted to find a field where we could play, but it's interesting. In Greece, they have no fields or anything public. It's all turf and fenced off fields, usually for certain teams, and it's all locked up. This was the one field that we did find, and when we came there was just a group of boys playing, so we were it was kind of awkward because you don't really know Greek, but we just asked them if we could play with them. One of them knew a little bit of English, so we just started playing with them, and we were just talking Russian among ourselves, Dad, me, and Matthew. And then it turns out one of them excitedly asked us if we talked in Russian. So apparently, turns out that 4 of them were Russian Greeks, like their parents were from Russia. They were born here, there, but they spoke Russian. So yeah, it was pretty cool. We got a cool relationship with them, and we were able to play with them several times, just invite them to the church and just have a good time with them. But yeah. Different, all right.
No, it's interesting. They play soccer kind of like they live their life. They don't really fight for the ball. It's just kind of like, it's okay. You can have it. They really relax. Yeah. So I came back here and on Fridays I feel like I'm out of shape because I played with Greeks. This is a different people we met. They are from Finland, and his wife is Russian. He is from Finland, but their family with 5 kids. They moved over there, and specifically, which is interesting, for sports ministry. So that was, Victor, that was really interesting to see. That's their whole idea. They were supported. They came for sports ministry, and this is the field. This is where they're at. There's like a whole center, and they gather people from community on every Friday and Wednesday. And people come, different people, different age, doesn't matter, and they come. So we came there, and they are doing, it's nice that they have their own field, and so they just kind of practice, they play game, and then at the end they have just like a small little fellowship, little word, but that's their idea is to try to get the community in. And Wednesday and Friday they have people, and they already been there 2 years, and that's their main focus. That's what they do. Next. That's another couple that we met, and we met through the Hellenistic ministries, and then they came from, I forgot, Moldavia, Moldova. And then so they are very interesting testimony. He was basically a drug addict, literally just like counting his last days under some bridges in Russia, like from drugs, and how how God found him and just brought him back to life. She comes from a good family, Christian family, and then so they are married, and they are very intense, devoted missionaries. It was really cool. We spent a few hours with them, and they're like, their mission, and they obviously have a calling, and they're like on fire, and specifically for people of Afghanistan. And right now, it's hard to get in there, so they are actually waiting. They're like excited and waiting that there's some ways for them to sneak into the country to serve Muslim people, to tell them about Christ. But like so much danger, so much with the Taliban being in charge, they understand all the dangers. They understand that their life is at stake, and they're like just like excitingly praying, and they're like, oh, we're just here in Greece for a little bit because there are some Afghani people too, but they're like, this is the people that they're focused on. These are the people that they want to serve, and it was pretty cool. So we got to know them personally. So these are completely. So we're just going through some of the people that we've met. These are Greek. He was a pastor. That's his brother. Really cool family. We got to meet them, and these are all different. It's kind of interesting. There's they could be Greek churches. It'd be long to explain, but they're not together. There's like a little different, even though they're not like so much theologically different. There are some differences, but they're independent. They're kind of like the same, or kind of on their own. So these were one of the churches. They're all small. and I'm talking about churches if they're not Orthodox. So anything that's evangelical, they are kind of, these are it. Because anything Orthodox, that's more from the government and more official, more big. Anyways, this is a person I met who I was looking for. I needed to, because over there it's a 220 volts, and I took my trimmer, and I turned it through the adapter, and it just sparked and burned. So I needed to find a barber, and I went looking, and this guy turns to be from Armenian. Okay. Armenian or Calvinist? From Armenia. Huh? Armenian. So, and his name is Armen. He lived in Greece for 25 years. Very interesting guy. Unbeliever, used to be like a thug, just life, and then, he turned his life around and has a family. But it was really cool to meet him. He loved the kids, and so we got to hang out with him and talk. I went to him a couple times, so I have his phone number. Like, we stay in touch, but he's really, really cool guy. Got to meet him. So this is on the night, I think it's like 4 o'clock in the morning, 5 o'clock in the morning, when we're leaving, already coming home. And this is the person, his name is Dimitris, with us. He's the one that allow us to use his apartment. We rented from him. And he's Greek, speaks Russian, and speaks English. He just learned them. And so really, really interesting guy too. And God really blessed us through him. And, with financial and stuff, how he did. That's a different couple that we met. They lived there about 8 years or so with Pastor Dino. Just really cool people, and we've connected with them. They know a lot. They helped us out a lot. Even the first time when we were there, they were very, very helpful. They already know Greece. She knows Greek really well. He kind of doesn't. He works on an island. He's learning more English. But they were a big blessing for us in many ways. Just how helpful and how just open and heartwarming they were, and it was great. This is one of the cafes where we were the only kind of more quiet cafe where we could sit down, and and me and Vitaly would gather up. I think there might be a different place, but we would find moments where we just one-on-one would sit down and make plans and talk. First, we'd just kind of get to know each other, talk ministry, life, family, personal life, kind of personal accountability. We would also meet at this other office, but this was just one of the times where we hang out with him together. And then he would, he took Max out a few times just to, same thing, kind of just connect, talk. He's a deep thinker. He likes to ask deeper questions, and so that was. Where are the pictures where you guys gonna talk? Is it coming up? I feel like because there's pictures that Rufa's gonna talk, okay. Anyways, we're coming. Every Wednesday, so this is something Vitaly's trying to do, and we were really putting effort into it because, so this was like a men gathering, kind of like we have men's breakfast, same idea. I shared what we do, I shared how and we really try to make that happen. And this guy over here, Armen, he's a Armenian Yevrey, Armenian Jew. And so he came there like maybe a few weeks before we were about to leave. And so different people, and these are the people that are at least close or somehow in the circle or kind of close to the faith where there's potential. And so we gather with them for just like a simple fellowship and trying to dig deep into the Word and somewhat introduce the aspect of accountability, because that is very kind of foreign to them and awkward to do that. So we were trying to introduce that, and we would do that every Wednesday and trying to grow that. So this is Natalia.
This is just one of the couples that became really dear to us. This is Sergey and Nastya and their 2 kiddos. We often talked about how it's important to invest in the people that are there in the ministry already. We saw that it's important because Vitaly doesn't really have anybody much right now. They're the people that decided, they moved there 3 years ago, and they are staying in Greece. So they actually, right before we left, they actually started going to his church fully. They play music, they sing, so it's a huge, huge blessing for Vitaly's church. We got to know them really well. We spent some time with them. It was nice for our kiddos to have other kids to be with, too. You can show Simon. So we try to invest, like we said, time and evenings into people who are already putting in a lot where they are. We just saw that that's really important as well. And Rufa, you can go.
Yes, this is, we met so many people, so many different people. These are probably the brightest relationships so far. They keep in touch with us. This is Sveta. She, with her daughter, they're Russian. They moved to Ukraine. They were working there, and now they live in Greece as refugees. The same with Valentina. Zheka is her favorite person. He prayed for her, he prayed for her one time, and then she just was talking about it for the rest of the trip, like how he's the special pastor person. Pravodnik. We spent a lot of time with the teens there. It was just a lot of relationship building, a lot of getting to know them, and just building kind of relationship foundation so we can keep in touch with them now. And it was a real blessing. That's Sveta standing next to me. Sveta and Christina, her daughter, standing next to me. And Marisha, that's Famim's daughter. What's next?
Yeah. So this picture I have to explain. But so that's Valentina. That's that lady that Rufa was talking about. And she was actually in the beginning very aggressive, kind of against. She comes from high education, but she's an unbeliever, and very aggressively she would let you know she's from Ukraine and the language and the whole thing, but like she's just against Christianity and stuff. And so one of the evenings, and I'll take time to, so it was an event that after the little gathering with Vitaly, we would kind of split up into groups, and he would just say, hey, we are Christians, we pray to God, and let's pray for each other and our needs, and to God. And so at the end, we would kind of split up into groups 2 or 3 and pray, and we would try to split up so we could pray with people, because some people I realized don't know how to pray, like actually just pray. They can read a prayer, but they don't know how to pray. So it was interesting. And so Vitaly kind of set me up, and he said, hey, come here, let's pray over here. And so I ended up praying with her and for her, but she speaks only Ukrainian and very thick Ukrainian. I could not understand what she's saying. And so it was like, I asked, what are your needs? What can I pray for? So she said something, I had no what, but as she was saying, but she was like, she didn't like that I don't speak Russian at that moment. She was very, very, or I don't speak Ukrainian, that I'm Russian. And then so when she was talking and I didn't understand, I prayed and I said, Lord, give me the understanding, what can I pray for this lady? And so I prayed something, I don't remember what, but apparently God used that. It was something special, that's something that really had an impact on her life. And later, she came later, weeks later, and she just kept saying how that prayer really moved and changed something for her. And so she saw me with pravodnik. So it's like I'm a mediator between God for her. And so she, esteemed me in some special way. But it was good because and then later she would even start speaking in Russian to me. She wouldn't speak to Rufa in Russian, but she would to me. And that was really cool. And then actually at the end of 2 months, she went to the camp with us. And she was, there's that one time we saw her reading the Bible. Like she opened up and she started listening and receiving the Christianity. It was really, really cool to see how a person so just aggressive became so soft and open. So this is, Natasha and Natasha. They had a few times where we wanted to make that happen. We were talking with Vitaly, for them to just kind of build relationship, hang out. And
These are my friends. The girl sitting across of me, her name is Vasiliki. I know I talked to Lisa, Natasha, Moshgavarila, the people that I talked to. She became extremely dear to me. She was going through a very rough time. I'm sorry. I miss her, I guess. She was going through a really rough time. And I think we met the first time we came to church. And it so happened that we were praying together. And I prayed for her. And I think there's just something about prayer, things that you don't expect, things that you don't, count on. And God does something really amazing with prayer. So we prayed together, and she became just a very dear person to me. We met up with her several times where she was able to share her life. She was going through a very difficult time, she's going through depression and all of that. And just, 2 months is a very short period of time to really have a deep connection with someone. But it's something I really prayed for, really hard, because I'm like, Lord, 2 months is not a big time, but if I can somehow connect with someone and have a friend, that would be great. And that was her. And the girl sitting right next to me, Alexandra, that's her sister. So just one of the moments, very sweet moments where God answers prayers. And she's doing really good now. Vitaly, he started having meetings with her, counseling meetings with her, and she just, from the time that we just met and the time that we were leaving, she's almost like a new person. She was just a different person, and I'm just extremely grateful that I got to meet her.
Yeah, there's actually 3 sisters there. They were raised and born in Greece. Their dad is Greek, their mom is Russian or something. But yeah, really sweet girls, and Natasha made good friends with them. This was on my birthday. The Famin family came over, and we hang out. So these are...
Just another relationship building opportunity we had was just gathered, just Famins, and Sveta and Christina were the ones we spent also a lot of time with, because it's just easier for them to come. And it's just, I don't know, we made dinner. We tried to connect with her more. Sveta, she is a very dear, sweet person that we got to know. Also, she's like a believer, but her faith is so small. There's just so much growth to be had, but her heart is so open, and she's so just genuine, like loving, and wants to know the truth, or wants to know the right theology, or she's just really interested in a lot of questions. And we were just talking about things, and she's like, wow, I never knew that. And we're like, it's, there's just so much work to be done. What's next?
Yeah, and I want to, people like Sveta and others, so many people, I think this is one of the things that we are so used to, just having a feast every Sunday and groups and stuff, and just realizing that so many people who are believers, they have faith, but they're so hungry, and it's like even the basic things for them, it's a big deal. And I think that's something that open our eyes, how blessed we are here, and we shouldn't just take that for granted, but share that, because so many people, basic truth nuggets, just simple stuff that we tell our kids, for people, like, wow, it's life transforming and eye opening. So this is the gathering of Vitaly Famin group. So the community, this is the little building, usually like this, 2 rows, and sometimes people will change who comes and goes, but for the most part, this is it. There's sometimes where we did special events, so you can see a little more people here. I can't remember exactly what it is, but so this is where I started plugging in, and Vitaly asked for help, because he is it. He is the man of the whole thing. Here we have one person doing this, one person doing that, the introduction, the prayer, the updates, and the sermon. He's even opening building, and from beginning to the end. So when I came, I started helping in any way I can, and he's like, hey, how about you lead the service? I'm like, oh, I did not sign up for this. But he's like, are you gonna suggest someone else? And there isn't anybody else. So we were, I was struggling, but it was good for me to step out of my comfort. And then there's another guy that started regularly. He would come early, open the building, and close the building. So just little things like that. But one of the big, speaking of needs, we'll talk later, but is he needs solid men who will be able to have a team, even a team of 2. By yourself, it's difficult. He has a lot on his shoulder, on his hands that you have to deal with. Okay, go next. Oh, this one. So this we would do different. Yeah, Silma was enjoying it. But we would, after church or after gathering like that, we would try to invite whoever we can to our place, our little place, and try to just to hang out. So this was Sveta, her daughter, and family kids, and then we would just try to use anything we can, grab some pizza, and just to hang out, build relationship, and kind of get the momentum going where people would be drawn to and just enjoy friendship fellowship, because it seems like everybody's on their own, isolated, independent, in their gadgets, and yeah. So we would do things like that. We took together all the teens we could find that were there, and we went laser tag. We ended up going there like 3 times because it was actually really cool, and then more and more people started coming. And then later we grabbed some pizza in that place, and then so some of the boys, the 2 brothers right here, so Danik right here first face, and then 2 brothers right there. They're Greek that speak in Russian, so Russian Greeks, and then just different people. Then we went out to like this theme park, yeah. So theme park. We would go to places like that, and again, just with a purpose, trying to, we enjoyed it. It was great, but also it would be a good time to kind of hang out of the church religious setting, because for a lot of people it was like, oh, religious stuff, it's a little, they want to keep their distance. But this was just like, hey, let's hang out, let's get to know each other, let's build friendship. So it was really cool. Around Christmas time in Greece, they really go out in, just decorating, like really go out. Nothing like here, way more. But the sad part is you don't see anything that has to do with Christ or, the birth of Jesus. It's just all, gifts and just all kinds of different things, Santa Claus and stuff. So this was in Corinth, and just there's an old Corinth where the ruins are. And so we came there, and you pay, I think it was like €5 or something, and you go through it, and there's a lot. And so Vitaly, actually, for me, is very, very knowledgeable in historical stuff, and he would give us a little tour. And so these are just some of the ruins. I'm not going to get into what's what. You can, some of the ruins of, because that's the area we would actually stand there, and I think if you get to a picture where I'm standing, and where we would read from Acts, so this part right here, we would read from Acts chapter 17, 18 specifically, and historically it shows, like this was that marketplace and the synagogue were in chapter 18, okay. In chapter 18 of Acts, where this was where Apostle Paul was brought to, I think, Agalium? What was his name? Of the ruler. Anyways, that was the place. And like when you're there, there's the leftovers of the synagogue, the marketplace, and it's really cool as you're reading it and like to envision where it actually happened. Because they had the main road going from Corinth all the way down to the sea. And I mean, that's there. You can go on. So that's that little road that we were talking about. It's now about 12 to 15 feet under the no, it's not in sea level, like the actual where the the ground is now, but it's all under, so they have to undig it. But so that part is they dug it out, and that's where all that stuff is. And then I'm sure you guys know Corinth Canal. I'm sure a lot of you know, but yeah, it's a big history moment. Now they use it for bungee jumping. Because there's so many lives they've put in because they actually dug it out. And then by the time it was finished, well, the ships were getting bigger and they can't fit through there. And so now they just use it for bungee jumping. But it's really, really pretty historical moment. And then, yeah, that's like end of November? It was from after Corinth. We went over there in Vitaly too because there's like a thing so we just jumped into the sea. Waters is amazing. And we took, 2 families. Our goal was when we first came to at least once a week try to hang out as families. Their family, our family, and maybe join another family. We did probably around 4 times altogether, which is better than nothing. But so that was one of the churches, like I was saying, beautiful, really pretty, so much detail, but no Christ, just religion and things that they have to do and follow. But inside, it's amazing. I don't think I've ever seen them. Just so much detail and really pretty. Go on next. So this is we went to one of the monasteries. This was not active monastery, but it was just historical stuff. We went in to look and see this. And kids were amazing, yeah. And we just so many details of, and writings and how people did a lot of monasteries. Then we went to a couple of them that were active. This was, and you can see this is in Athens. Like I said, any hill or anything they'll have, but this was one of the big historical. I think this is the Acropolis, right, on the way to it. So one of the theaters. So this is going to Acropolis. I mean, if you're in Greece, this is going to be everywhere. You go get out in the airport, there's going to be pictures of Acropolis. Like, this is the thing. And then, yeah, there's two brothers. So, yeah, that was actually a guy goes around. He's dressed as a Roman soldier, and he comes up, and, you know, he offers you a picture, but then you have to pay. Greek soldier, yeah, sorry. Greek soldier. And then you have to pay for the picture. So while we were trying to figure out how much it is for the picture, Rufa sneaked in and took the picture. So we saved €5. This is, we went to one of the monasteries. This is active monastery. And I mean, they are beautiful, and they have like the best spots, best views. This is way up there. You can see the cities down there. And those should be some pictures. Yeah, so this is where they do their services and things, and there's, you can go on. So these are the ladies, and our kids were scared because they're all hunched forward, and they're in black. They look like witches or something. It was scary. And they walk around over there, and then, you know, look at Ellie. She's like, whoa. But so, and can you go back one picture? You see the lady he's got the rag and the Windex cleaning. Do you guys know why? What do you think? Except Matthew. Huh? You call it? No. So they actually, people come in, and I watch this over and over. They come in, do their thing, put a candle, and they kiss the picture. And so the babushka, after every couple kisses, she comes up and washes the thing, and then the next couple kisses. So it's pretty interesting. That's me and Ellie, or just... So this was Sergey and Nastya, the couple. So she's there for business. They have a business that they run in America, but they're stationed in Greece. So that's why they work from like 2, 3 in the afternoon until like into 2, 3 a.m. So the time difference. And so they allowed us to use their building on Christmas time. So we try to do their Thanksgiving over there, American style, where we try to serve them in that way. So basically anything, people will come for events. And we use them as like evangelistic tool event where we're like, this, it draws people, really does. But it's a lot of work and someone has to do it. And so we try to do what we can, and we use their building to get together. So over here, where's Max over there? Because me and Max put on a little, yeah, right here. We put on a little, just like a Christmas skit, and man, we were uncomfortable, but it was, I think we got the message across, and we just did a little Christmas story thing, and kids were like into it, and you know, it was, I don't know, we try to, yeah, we gave them the little gospel message through that, and so kids were going wild, and so they did a little something upstairs, just for them to, same thing, just a little crafts that they have, that I think we brought, and then just, yeah, because we brought some crafts with us for things like that, and then we used them. So this is New Year's, and that was a little smaller and different kind of crowd. We wanted to more focus on maybe the people that are a little, not just completely like strangers that nobody knows, but a little more established or have some kind of connection, people we knew. So Sergey and Nastya over there in the middle, they're the ones that they lived there for 3 or 4 years already, and so that's their business building that they offered. And so we did with that crowd, New Year's. And so we went outside and stuff just at the 12 o'clock thing. It was really good. Okay, so switching gears here. That was a lot of that. Like I said, we had to skip a lot, but time is going. I know I promised the teens talked about camp that we had. So camp, this was a picture that we got together and we started talking about camp because it was not even our plans. We didn't know about any camp, but a group from Bright Church in Sacramento, they financed and they were coming over with a team to do this kids camp. And so the same group, or it was different people from Bright, but same church that did it in summertime where Amy and Diana went. So we came and sat down, that was our planning, and we're like, okay, we're here, and there's so much that needs to be done, because they're coming and bringing stuff, but we need to get things done over there. And so we started talking, because like I said, it wasn't even our plans until only a few weeks before, and actually camp was going to happen after we leave. But then they changed the dates, and so they asked us if we can help and serve, and Rufa was there, and we talked, and it was like already at the end, we were kind of drained, but like we saw that it's an opportunity from the Lord. And so this was the camp people. It was about 50 kids, age from 8 and I think to 17, different, and all mainly refugee Ukrainian kids, unbelievers, So, and it was a very different camp experience than what I've ever experienced. Just different. So these were the Greek couple. They were doing the kitchen, and Valentina. Remember that Valentina lady? So she went to camp with us, and yeah, it was really good and different. She's very strict, but she's go on. Huh? So there's going to be pictures. So Rufa was with Danik from California. She'll talk about it. So me and Natasha, first we were split up to different groups, and we were in one group, the oldest group, and this was our group. It was 12 people, and so this is one of the times we actually left the camp and we walked over to get some ice cream just so we can hang out with them, because a lot of it was geared towards kids camp, like kids camp. And so these are teens into, like, one of them was 19, then 17, and then most of them 13, 14, 15. And they're like, this kid stuff, and it was really difficult to kind of get into, like, really some kind of connection with them. So we tried different things, and that's one of the things I asked, like, hey, can we get out and maybe just, on our own? And so we went to get some ice cream. These are all the girls. They got to, and that was me with the boys, with the guys. Max was one of them. So, and we had these, so there's the Bible lesson time, we had these discussions, and guys, and this is where teens, youth, we are truly blessed with where we're at, with what's surrounding us, the teaching, what we have, and, parents that love you and protect you. When we started talking to these kids, and I asked them, one of the questions I asked them, like, tell me about, this is a Christian camp. And for someone, they were actually pretty upset because their moms, most of them, they don't have dads because they're either don't have them or they're stuck in Ukraine. And so their moms, some of them, they didn't tell them that it was Christian camp because otherwise they wouldn't go. So they kind of tricked them into it, and they were upset. They didn't want to be in oh, boring Christian camp. What is this? So it was really negative attitude, and it was hard to deal with. And so when I asked them, okay, so this is a Christian camp. Tell me what you know about God and your relationship to Him. And I was surprised, blown away by what some of the answers was. And so we started talking with them, and a lot of the Bible lesson, so a lot of the we would gather in a circle like that, and we got into some deep conversations that I didn't expect, but it was, I was asking wisdom and guidance from God, and just prepping, and because I couldn't use the curriculum that they prepped, because it was, like I said, it was mainly kids camp, but they had the gospel in it, so I would use some of that so we're all stay on the same page. But that led us into, they had so many questions, and it was, I think it was supposed to be the whole thing an hour every day, and we would sometimes go into 2 hours just getting into it. And some of the questions, some of the stuff that they had to deal with in their 13, 14, 15-year-old life, it was mind-blowing. Some of it was very disturbing, and the things that they happened in their life, or the baggage that they carried in their heart. And then we had some of the, later night, everybody goes to sleep. We were allowed to stay, we had to fight for that, but we were allowed to stay up longer, only if we're quiet. And so a lot of them wanted personal conversations, and they would get upset because it's well, they don't want that person to be there because they didn't trust. A lot of them didn't know each other, but they wanted personal because they had a lot of just a huge load on their heart and issues that they needed help with, and they wanted to talk. They wanted to spill out. They would ask, and we prayed with them. And so I would sit with them, with Natasha. Sometimes she would be with them on their own, and mainly girls. Some of the boys I've connected with where we could talk deeper. That was mainly the last 2 nights. At first, it was just a battle and struggle for who's going to be in charge and who I'm going to submit to or not submit to, and it was difficult. So these are some of the girls that really, they polubili, they really love Natasha and just kind of got to connect with her. So we had 12 people in the group, and we have 11 phones right here. One of them was my Max. So that tells you, and phone, and again, I got to be careful how I say it here. I saw, very sad picture of unhealthy, unbalanced, I would without hesitation say addiction to phones, to gadgets, to a point where it's difficult to build and have real conversations because there's no interest. They're interested in what's on the phone, and it's sad at the cost that it comes to them. And so in camp, we already saw enough of this, and especially the Ukrainian refugees. A lot of it is the setting in Ukraine. And I was even talking to Vitaly, and he's like, yeah, that was. It's not even the war. That's how it was prior. And so this creates like the next generation. Parents are almost like already gave up the fight. They don't want to battle. Like it's too far, too much. And so, while families are going through these hard times, teens, kids, young kids are just disconnected from reality into their phones and it was really, and it made me like be even more concerned. Like us as parents, we should like really think through these things and be balanced. Otherwise, like we lose them, like literally lose them. It's hard to connect with them. So when we had camp, one of the things were like, unless we take the phones away, we can do nothing for them. Like we're not going to connect with them. So, and it was the decision that we had to make. They had to give up their phones, and 15 minutes a day they would receive them for. It was supposed to be to connect with their, call their parents and stuff, but they didn't call parents. So, and then it was a fight to get it for them. At the end, they did this really cool thing. Here, do you want to talk about it? I feel like I talked too much.
It was just a fun game that they did for them. They had to do a business. Every group had to create 2 businesses, and they would serve us, all the people that were in it. They were just really cute groups. This one was probably the best picture. This is our group. So our business they created was foot massages with some lemonade. That's Max doing a foot massage to like 30 people. It was a very humbling experience, the Žeka enjoying his foot massage with his lemonade. But this is towards the end when you kind of really connect with the kids, and they're awesome kids. They all have a story, they all have a life of their own, and it was a privilege getting to know them, a privilege getting to know part of their life, kind of what they're going through. So Rufa can talk about her group.
Yeah, I think I had the most difficult group. I wasn't expecting it, but it was. Where's my group? Oh, there we are. This is the first lunch probably where everyone was still kind of happy. The first question they asked each other was where everyone was from. So, that was a big thing. They want to know if you're from Russia, from what roots you have. So we had to stop that. They would, a lot of them come from either families with no father, broken families. So it was really difficult. They don't know how to deal with each other, with, someone being rude to them or mean to them. We had to work a lot with them relating and communicating with each other. So, but they're great kids. At the end, everyone was crying because they were sad. We had to leave. That's Danik. He was paired. We were paired up in this group with 10 kids, and we weren't ready for camp. We didn't know we were going to be leading groups and stuff. We were like, oh, we're just going to help. It's great. We'll just do what we can. But we found out that we actually had to, teach lessons. And Danik was saying, he's like, oh, can you just teach the lessons because my Russian's not that great. I'm like, my Russian's not great either. But so it was hard. The part where he tried to be strict with them, but they don't know what he's saying. They don't. So that was hard. I had to be the strict one, and but it was great. They at the end we had at the end of the camp. It was more nice. It was like really nice because the kids started opening up. The schedule was really busy every day in camp, so we didn't really have much time to connect, to hear one-on-one stories with them. It was just a really busy schedule, but at the end, that's when they started kind of to open up. It would have been nice to have more time with them. But I still keep in touch with them, so that's a lot to pray for, and they all just have different lives, and I'm just very grateful for the opportunity to meet them.
So that was our group. We took a picture at the end. And like Rufa is saying, in the beginning, it was a struggle in trying to everybody's establishing their own dominion. And then at the end, there were some tears and just like how we were able to connect. And it's amazing how prayer, the truth, and just loving someone can do a lot. You need time for that. So that was at the end. Because we had to the whole siesta thing is when everybody. It's mainly for the elderly now. Greek. It's Europe and America has its own impact on them. So they're losing that. There's no siesta where they rest during the day. But for the elderly, there is. And where we were at, there was an elderly home nearby. So they're like, you guys have to leave. You have to be somewhere from 2 to 5 because there can't be noise and things. So we had to find places to go. This is one of the things. We went on a little hike. And this is the whole team, basically, of volunteers. So team from Sacramento, some of the locals, Famines, us, and Natasha didn't go on that one. Next. That was Rufa's birthday. You want to talk about it? I'll talk about it. Yeah, she was, we made her very uncomfortable, and I think she enjoyed it secretly. But it was, we sang to her, and the kids did something, and then so she got a little present, because it was on the last day of camp. It was her birthday. And of course, FIFA. I don't know, you boys, you guys, World Cup. So we gathered some people, and some of the games, I'm like, hey guys, some of the teams, not a lot of them were interested in football, soccer, but some of them did. And so we had a couple times where they would come over to our place, and usually on a Sunday evening after church, we'd come and hang out, take pizza, some chips or whatever, and then watch the game. And this was one of towards the finals, so even Vitaly came in at the end, and we were in it. It was very good. So this is some of just a few pictures quickly of our life. So going from comfortable big rides that we have here, vans and expeditions and Suburbans. So we didn't have a car, so we'd ride Metro. Then we had a car. It's a little Peugeot that is kind of like our Geo Metro. And the whole family, had to fit in it for a little bit. And no seat belts, rules. I mean, I kind of enjoyed it towards the end in Greece. There's really no rules. You just kind of look to the sides and you make it work. They are extreme lawbreakers, but they do it with such kindness. They could be going on the red light, but smiling, and there's no anger. They'll get into where they're not supposed to. Signal me, and they go on. And so for me, it was at first it's just very tense because there's you can't. There's no rules. There's no lines. There's no lights. Really, it's just you kind of figure it out. But but that was we used that car, and then until we got a van. So we also really enjoyed. There was a market, Bazarchak. We'd go every Saturday and Wednesday, depending on which section you live in. You walk to it, and all the fresh fruits and vegetables, and there's people just I remember in Russia the old days. It's just all right there, and you walk through, and you can even bargain with them. It was pretty cool. So this is when Rufa came. Then we got this little minivan. It's a 7-seater. We got at one point in there 13 people. Yeah, but we used it because a lot of people, most people, all people except Vitalia don't have cars. So, and a lot of times you can go through anywhere in Athens, you can use Metro, but a lot of times you got to switch to and stuff. So, but if we went anywhere further out, trying to get away from the crazy crowdness, then we used the van. So that was some of our school mornings. In the mornings, it was our kitchen table, it was our dining, it was our school, it's like a studio, a little apartment, but we enjoyed it. Yeah, if I were to stay more than 3 months in Greece, I'd absolutely get a motorcycle or moped because. And they have no rules. They can go on sidewalks. They can go anywhere you can squeeze in. And so this is one of the streets. I mean, you can see because it's with cars you're constantly struggling, but with mopeds and they're also used as trucks. So you can see sometimes they'll be carrying loads and stuff. This guy, I was just blown away and laughing, but he was carrying a windshield on his moped, and so it was. I'm telling you, it's they get creative. But look at that. So those are just some fun things we saw that it was pretty amazing. And parking is just anywhere. I've parked somewhere on things where it's sideways. I mean, you get into any little spot you can squeeze in, you squeeze in. Then they have, like I said, they were very religious people, like Apostle Paul was talking about in Acts. He can see that they're very religious. They will, like, there's a lot of different, chram and, temples and things. And they have these things, like a lot of different places on the road. There's just like a little box with some, stuff in there, iconi or pictures or whatever. And people would stop and, put something or a candle or whatever. So these are all over the place too. So if you look through that, it looks like they're... And then I had to work on I was helping with some car work over there, and it was just trying to like box with your hands tied behind your back. There's no place, no tools, nobody had tools, so I actually bought a set of tools that I used to fix Vitali's car, and then I left it for him as a gift because I was trying to change the cylinder, and it took me like 6 hours. Here it would probably be like a 45-minute job. But you have nothing. So it's like on the street, I was fixing it. And these are some of the streets. Like, look, this is not a back alley. This is a normal street. You can walk if there's no car. Sometimes, but it's like they're very tight. And every time you park, you have to fold your mirrors because you might come back and there would be no mirror. Then at one point we were driving by, and we realized I think that was on the way to camp in the morning. And you guys know what this is? No? The Olympic Stadium. Yeah, the famous Olympic Stadium. You got to pay money to get in there. We didn't have time, but we just took a picture in front of it. Those are just some fun things. This is actually in the middle of Athens. We had to take a metro, and we're on a date with Ellie. I try to use Mondays as much as I could to find time and go on dates with each one of the kids and to connect and kind of go through it. It was pretty fun. This is, we went to one of the places, Museum of Illusions, and so, Max had a growth spurt, and this one, something happened to me here. I became small. But those are just some fun things, some fun. So that was my birthday. Someone wrote it on the ground. That's how old I turned. And so it was just a cool place that we went to hiking, and we kind of got lost a little bit, but we found our way. Okay, it's not what it looks like. I did not get stuck. I was just testing how deep the sand is, and then we got out. Yeah, guys don't get stuck. So we dug it out and pushed it out. It was a cool little diesel minivan. Okay, so another fun thing that we found out when we were there, guys, this is Christmas morning. So, and we came out on Christmas morning, we didn't realize what's going on, but everybody's cooking shashlik. Shish kebab. And when we went through places, and so if there's any holiday, they will be closed like a few days before that because they're getting ready for the holiday. Then they'll spend the few days for the holiday, and then they'll be closed for the few days after because now they're getting out of the holiday. So that's how they roll. And then so this is one of the few places that were open, and like they're all grilling, just cooking meat, not grilling. And so Simon was enjoying this stuff, but it was really, really good and very affordable stuff, that meat and salads. Yeah. So that's just, I wanted to show some of that. Then we went one time, like I was saying, it's just, there would be times where it's just like the ministry and just things are just laying heavy, and I was praying that God would give me wisdom, and He did, just to see that the family's kind of like, being down and discouraged. And so we would take, and I would tell Vitaly, we're taking the day off, and we go, and we went to like a completely different side, maybe an hour drive, and there's some very pretty places. It's away from Athens, and it would be a time where we can just do silly things like these, laugh, cry, pray together, and kind of refocus what we're doing and why. But we really bonded as a family and connected. Like, I still really value that. It was really good for us to just go through these hardships together. And that's why I was saying last time, we might as well adopt Rufa, because she was part of it, and she kind of blended in, so it's kind of part of the family. Yeah.
Except one time I'm walking to Natasha's and their apartment, and we're planning to go somewhere, and I'm just walking to their house, and then Simon sees me. He's like, "Do you have to be everywhere with us?"
We actually had to talk to him about that, because in the car, he's like, "Rufa again?" And we're like, "Synok, you can't say that." But then at the end, he was calling her Rufinочka Maya. So we love her, and this is the last picture.
So guys, yeah, we're done. This is it. I just wanted to kind of at the end, there's a lot to see, a lot to experience. If anybody gets an opportunity, do it. It's a blessing. Huh? Oh, the robbers. So yeah, we did our place got broken into. We only had like 3. I don't know why I didn't took pictures in the beginning, but we had like 3 pictures. I didn't put them, but honestly, it's just they got in. We came home. The windows are open, doors are open. Everything's just turned upside down, and we're like, it took a second to realize what's going on, and the first thing for me, and as soon as I think about it, I see Natasha going there, is the passports and the money we had in the room, and we come in. And the whole room is just kind of turned upside down. And I opened the door to the little cabinet where it was at. And it was amazing that they're there, untouched. And it was like, they're not hidden, because everybody would tell us, do not take passports with you anywhere. There's a lot of crime, for sure. There's a lot of, they say that the refugees that came in, the government does not help them. And so there's just a lot of that crime and people, especially if they see you're a tourist, they'll snatch stuff from you and jump you and steal stuff from you. They're like, and a lot of people are after, on the black market, the passports are very valuable, because, especially if they're active. And so, yeah, they broke in, and you can see that they were turning stuff upside down, looking for money and for passports. And for us, it was such a moment where we stopped and like, guys, this is, and I told the family, like, we pray for protection. We pray for God to keep us safe. The church is praying for us. And like, this is the moment. Like that was it. And it was, I feel like at that moment I can almost sense and see their faith grow. It's because I look in their eyes, and it's just like, because it was really kind of freaky. They couldn't sleep that night, because like, it's a weird feeling when someone was in there and doing, we cleaned everything up. But the fact that they did not take it is just unreal, because that's what they're looking for. And so God just blinded their eyes. They did not see the passports, and the money I had in the little like a notebook thing, and it was on the bed. And so they didn't go through it. Later, the owner came, the neighbors came. They just could not believe. They kept asking us, is anything missing? And we looked, we're like, everything is here. Even like we had the laptop in school, there's the iPad, like anything that's of value, nothing, it was just there. And so, and I think they jumped out from a balcony. And so it was a good witness and a good time. It was like in the middle of the night, all the neighbors collected, and we were talking about, like, nope, nothing is taken. So they were just blown away, but they say a lot of that is happening. So I just wanted to say, like, if you ever get an opportunity like that, it's difficult, there's risk, but it's such a blessing, and you get to experience God and people and needs like that. Honestly, in the spiritual realm of things, it is, the harvest is plenty, but the laborers are few. There's not enough men, there's not enough people there that know, that have the message, that know the gospel, know Christ, who can minister. And Vitali's in need of that. He needs a team. And so, like it says, pray to the Lord of the harvest that he would send laborers. And I think this is where we could, see our heart and pray to God that he would, now that we are connected to Greece in some way and seeing God work there. And oh yeah, he's definitely working there, just talking and seeing through people. So God is doing something with Greece and the people of Greece. So it's for us to be plugged into that and praying, prayerfully, keeping our eyes and our heart open to see if God can use us in whatever way, because there's many ways. You don't necessarily have to go there, but if you have a chance, it's a great opportunity. Thank you again for everything, for your time, for being with us on this trip, being part of it. It's a huge blessing. We are very happy to be back and with you guys. You're all dear to us. So for God's glory, thank you so much. We're done.
And now you can probably understand why we have called this mission Grace to Greece. Because there is a lot of religion, but they need the love of Christ. They need grace of Christ. So the question is for you, guys. So how many hours are there per day in Greece? Because it seems like it's a lifetime that you just showed us. Because we were on a wedding on Wednesday, on Friday, and it took them, 15 minutes for their slides, and you only spent 2 months, and so much memory, so much experiences, and it looks like, well, this is what it is. You guys have touched so many hearts of people, and that's what Christ is all about. It's not ministries, it's not activities, it's touches of Christ for the souls of people. And it's so amazing. I think it's memorable to them, and what you have done, it's amazing for you guys, for your families, but especially for those people. And the seed has been planted, right? Because God chooses us for different seasons. Some of us are going to be planting the seeds, some of them are going to be watering it, some will receive the harvest. But you guys have done a lot of things, and we're very thankful to the Lord and to you guys. And it's so amazing to be together and to listen to this story. We have been waiting for this couple of weeks now, but that's amazing. Can we get back to that slide with the shish kebab, please? Yeah, we have to have that picture. Simon or Matthew with that great food. Guess we're going to be praying for the hot dogs now, right? So we need to get some that feeling. Does it look like shish kebab? Olives. Oh. So a couple more in the hands and those eyes. We want to see the eyes, hungry eyes. Oh, look at that. Looks good. Satisfying eyes. So let us stand and we can pray to our Lord. Heavenly Father, we thank you for this amazing evening, that how you have led our church for this ministry, and especially our dear friends and their families. They met those people, and that was a very special moment that you gave them to share their faith, to share you, our Savior and Lord. And we ask for that seed that has been planted. So, Lord, you give the growth. You give the growth in faith and dedication and in the church. And we especially pray for Famin's family. They have to stay there, and it was sad for them to say goodbye to our guys, but still, Lord, we pray for them so you would abundantly bless them. Especially we pray for their kids, for their ministry. And thank you for our church, that this is the experience you gave us, and that's the blessing. And thank you that we can continue to have fellowship tonight. Bless the food, and we thank you for Slavik and Alan for preparing the food for us, and just we thank you for this. And we pray and bow down before you, our Lord and Savior. Amen.